Welcome to a special lunch and learn today, guys. I have LinkedIn Learn Nicole Suss here, and she's going to be discussing with you guys today the importance of developing a professional identity. Miss Nicole, how are you doing?
I'm doing great, Lance. How are you?
Well, I'm doing fine, and thank you for stopping by and just taking a quick moment to share some tips and strategies for our students in developing professional identity.
Wonderful. Hi, everybody. It's great to be here. As mentioned, my name is Nicole. I am a representative here at LinkedIn, and I actually partner with all of the higher education institutions in the state of Texas, including many of the medical institutions across the state. So it's wonderful to be here. Today's talk is really going to be about managing a professional identity online. And this is a topic that I care deeply about. I was a recruiter headhunter for 10 years prior to coming to LinkedIn. So I know exactly what it means to manage a professional identity. I also do a ton of work in the medical space. My best friend is a faculty member and physician at UCSF. And so we talk regularly about what this means for her as well. So, hopping right into this, let's talk about it. So, for those of you who are unfamiliar, LinkedIn is the largest social media site for professionals online today. And it is one of the many options you have to manage a professional identity online. But whether you choose to do it on LinkedIn or off, it is still critically important to understand what it means to manage a professional identity and why it matters. So let's look at this. We understand that as you are going through your education, it is overwhelming to figure out exactly how to do this, right? We are shifting our mindset from being a student to being a professional, landing the residency or landing that career. So we understand it can be a lot, but this is truly a place to jumpstart your career. So other social media sites are to manage your personal identity. And we all know how to do this. We know the importance of our social aspects, especially as we're coming out of 2020. We understand the importance of the social life, and we're good at managing that. So how do we take those same concepts and bring that in to manage a professional identity, and why? Well, there are several reasons. But if you look at the how and you break it down into the most simplistic terms, any other social media site, you can see, what we like, how we connect with people, pictures of what we're doing, what we're listening to. But at LinkedIn and other social media professional sites, we're looking at our skills and experience, our professional identities, our connections, our network, all of these things that are going to be able to help us as we develop in our career. So how do we do this and why? So I wanted to just take a moment and look at the why. In the medical space, there is for you guys specifically, it is critically important to manage your professional identity. If we look at research publications across some of this, you can look at pubmed.gov, and there's some great articles about the importance of a professional identity. Teamwork, maintaining mutually respectful relationship is just as important as the administrative aspects of healthcare. A positive professional image is a prerequisite to gaining respect. Now, I want to tell you guys a secret. When you land a job at a new place, 85% of your coworkers are going to put your name in Google. What are they going to find? It is scary to think about that, at least for me. So LinkedIn has such strong SEO that it will almost always pop up first. This is a place where you can opt to manage your professional identity. You can have the professional picture you want. You can have all your research, your publications, your experience, your internships, your residencies, all in one place. Give them something to find, right? In addition, if you don't want to look at that, we also have different articles in here about exactly how to polish a professional image or professional identity. So your dress, your accessories, your grooming, these are all hugely important factors in terms of your picture, your image, and really take a peek at some of these, what this means and how. Again, of course, I'm from LinkedIn. This is the #1 place people go to manage their professional identities, but you do have options in the medical industry. So wherever you choose to manage your professional identity, make sure you take those steps. You're doing so much work to get the experience and the education. This is one little layer, but it can have a huge impact on how people view you now and in the future. So looking at this, how do we build a professional brand? Now, in other industries, this is absolutely a necessity. If you are going into sales, if you are going into the technology industry, LinkedIn is basically a prerequisite. In the medical field, it's a little bit different. You guys can land jobs. I mean, the career path you have chosen is in such high demand that occasionally, I mean, you will be able to land a job without a LinkedIn profile, unlike some of these other industries. But in order to land the top jobs, you have to manage your professional identity. So how do we do this? How do we build a brand? How do we use that to get hired in the jobs we actually want to be employed at? So the first one is the tactical steps, right? So building your brand, get noticed. So it is my recommendation to start to think about what a brand actually is. A brand is a promise of quality, right? If I go to the grocery store and I'm looking to buy toothpaste and I pick up a bottle of Colgate, I know that there is a consistent quality, flavor, texture, branding, marketing. I know with that brand, there's a promise of quality. And I urge you guys to think about what you want to be known for in your professional life. What is your professional brand, your personal brand from a professional sense? So the easiest way to do this is to think about the top 5 things that you want to be known for. Is it that you are going to stay up to date on all of the leading technologies? You're going to go to every conference, you're going to do research, have publications? Is it that you're a great team member, you have fun, you are able to maintain a positive attitude in a stressful environment? What is it about you, your natural tendencies that you can lean on to make yourself an amazing employee? Start to think about those. And that's where we're going to fold this in to a professional brand. So again, the why. 9 out of 10 companies use LinkedIn to hire. So you should too. If you want jobs to put yourself onto this platform, you are going to get more availability, more access to jobs, certainly. So what do we need to do on LinkedIn to get access, to get noticed? Well, there are sort of 5 must-haves that you're going to be able to fill out. So you go on to linkedin.com, create a profile. It's going to walk you through most of these. It's not terribly difficult, but you have options on what you want to fill out. So for this particular group, I would highly recommend certainly the education, having a professional photo, your experience, whether it be projects that you've worked on, internships, of course, our residencies, if we're going that route, volunteer experience, and then what skills, again, what are those top 5 skills you want to be noticed for? If you do those 5 things, you'll have a pretty robust profile. So let's look at them in more detail. So obviously you are here at a really wonderful place to get your education. This needs to be added, not just what the school that you went to, but all of the little details, the things that you've done, awards, clubs, honors, major projects, things like this should be added. 10 times the visibility with the school. And let me just say, you don't want to just type in your school name. What you actually want to do is start to type in your school name, and there'll be a drop down with particular logos. Make sure you check the correct logo so you can tie yourself to that institution. Next is a photo. Now, again, this is an interesting one. Are you choosing to wear scrubs or a white coat? Are you choosing to wear a business attire? These are some things that you need to consider as you start to manage your professional identity. Your picture is critically important, 21 times the visibility, right? You definitely want to be alone, no wedding shots, no bathroom selfies, right? Nice neutral background, look professional, shoulders up, make sure that you look approachable. You don't need a fancy photographer. My own LinkedIn profile was a selfie I took, but it's a nice neutral background and you can't tell it was actually a selfie. So nothing fancy needed here, but just make sure that you, again, are taking this opportunity to really brand your professional image. Experience. So before we get, some of our experience, again, internships, summer jobs, part-time jobs, all of these can be added, including projects, accolades that we've won, but we have to have something. And you need to understand that not everyone is going to understand your internal lingo. So if you were part of some, program that has a name, you need to be able to articulate what that program was meant to do, what skills you gained from that program. So not, I was invited to be a part of the leadership in healthcare summit. That's great if you were, but make sure you articulate what that is. And Lance, you've got a question?
Yes, I do have a question. For those students who are listening who do presentations or they may go to a conference and present, would this go into the experience section?
Absolutely. If you were invited to present at a conference, this is exactly the opportunity to outline that. And again, don't just say what you presented. Get the basic idea in there with a couple of bullet points. The thing about LinkedIn, or really any digital CV in any sense, is that people rely on what's known as recruitment technology to find you. Right? There are hundreds of thousands of healthcare professionals represented on LinkedIn. So if I'm a recruiter, I'm going to rely on technology to pull out the ones that are most prevalent and relevant to me and be able to reach out to them. The only way I do that is if keywords or theories or ideas are on a profile. So your profile needs to be robust so this technology can actually find you. And then you can have recruiters and headhunters reaching out to you for these top jobs. So, and then volunteer experience. More and more, it is becoming really important across all industries. We want to work with people, to hire people who are intrinsically good. So if you have given your time to anything in a philanthropic stance, you want to list it on here if there are causes you care about. If you've done any of that, this is actually really meaningful to people. This stat always surprises me, but it does get you a fair amount more visibility to add those things that you care about. It's also really nice talking points as you go through your professional career. And skills. So skills is an interesting one. You can actually type in your skills, especially if you've got some hard skills, if you know how to use a various piece of technology or you speak a different language. Those are definitely things that you're going to want to list on your profile. Other folks can also endorse you for skills. Those things are really good. The other piece is soft skills. So a hard skill is something that's sort of easily testable. I know how to work with this particular machine. I can speak this language. As a recruiter, I can simply ask you questions and determine if that's true. Soft skills are a little bit different. These are a little bit more fluffy and they're so critically important, but they're harder to assess for a recruiter. If you are strong in any of these soft skills, and I'm talking about teamwork, communication, leadership, these things that we all need to be able to do our job more effectively, but how do we articulate those, right? Having a positive attitude, being adaptable to change, these types of things really go a long way. So if you find that you want to, stake your flag on one of these soft skills, that's harder to articulate on a CV. So a professional identity on a LinkedIn profile or wherever you choose to represent yourself, this is where it's going to matter. So think not only about the hard skills that you're articulating, but the soft skills as well. And then, of course, any technologies. Microsoft Excel is always a big one. Yeah, Lance?
So I have a question for those who we have higher education students or in a graduate program. So for those who they may be out of touch and they don't know how to access their skills or they don't know what skills need to be put, what would you tell them?
Yeah. So this is, having self-awareness about where you are strong and where you are weak in skills is incredibly difficult. There are several ways to go about this, but the easiest one is to find somebody who's brave enough to give you real direct feedback and ask them. And the other piece is, you don't want to focus on what you're bad at. We're all bad at some things. Focus on what you're good at and leverage those. So if you are naturally a quiet introvert, maybe you're not going to be leadership. You're going to stake your flag on leadership, perhaps, right? Or maybe you're outgoing and talkative. Maybe that is something that you are more inclined to be. So don't worry necessarily about the negative feedback that you're getting. That's stuff you can work on. It's great. But if you're not naturally inclined to those things, don't worry. We all have stuff like that. What you want to try to figure out is what you are naturally inclined to do. And getting feedback, even from your parents, they know you better than anyone else, friends, peers, ask someone that you have a good enough relationship where they will give you an honest answer. What am I good at? You probably have a good understanding of it yourself as well. But getting that can be really helpful in starting to think about a professional identity. Now, there are all kinds of ways you can go about this in other manners, certainly talking to your faculty members, your professors, peers. There's also some assessments you can start to do, working with career facilities, career centers can also be really helpful. They can typically provide assessments. But again, so many people focus on what they need to strengthen their weaknesses. That's not what I want you to focus on. I want you to focus on your intrinsic strengths and be able to leverage those. That's how you're really going to get ahead. Hopefully that answers your question. So then what do we do? How do we actually take this and get hired? So there are a number of ways once you've built a LinkedIn profile or any sort of professional identity to now take this and leverage it, right? And again, we understand that as you're going through this graduation process, you're starting to transition from your academic life into professional life. There's so much to do. So we've built our profile. Now what? Well, there's several ways to leverage a professional identity. First and foremost, you can start to do research. And the best way to do that is to look at your alumni page. Now, in your case, UT Health at Tyler, we just set up the alumni page. So it is starting to be built. So what you can do there is go there and see the alumni that are at UT Health at Tyler. And as time goes on, more and more and more will be added. Add yourself to that once you graduate by connecting your profile to the correct institution on LinkedIn. This is a great way to go and sort by all the alumni by top employers. If you want to work for UCSF and you want to find somebody who is at UCSF to talk about the culture, the perks, the benefits, how is parking really as bad as it seems? Those types of questions to see if this is a good fit for you. You can just simply find them and reach out. Hey, I'm thinking about applying to a residency here. Can you tell me what it's like? Those types of conversations can be really helpful in picking where we want to expand our career. And again, keep in mind, 85% of jobs across the board are filled through internal referrals. So it's really important that we stay in touch with the people that we've met during our education. If you come from a family of medical professionals, leverage that network, but be able to have a professional identity in a place where you can keep track of all those folks. You know, I've changed jobs 3 or 4 times since my graduation, but I am still connected via LinkedIn to folks that I went to school with. There's no way I would keep track of them outside of that, but I've moved around, they've moved around, we're still connected. And occasionally I need a referral for something, or I need an introduction to someone, or I have a question about a company, and I can still tap those shoulders because I have them, I'm connected to them. So building a professional network, again, is critically important. So how do we do this? Connect with people you know. The easiest one, friends, of course, faculty members, classmates, teachers, professionals, anybody who is in your industry that you feel like you want to stay in touch with. Now, I don't recommend connecting with everybody in the world. You want a usable network. So make sure you connect with people who you respect, who you feel like will be good professionals to connect with. If you've got a buddy who you love hanging out with, but maybe they're not the most professional person, maybe LinkedIn or a professional place is not the best place to connect with them. Connect with them on Facebook and have some fun. But keep this to your professional network so you can tap that professional network later with questions and comments and you know, building your professional career. And then you can do research. Just about every company has a page on LinkedIn. You can start to figure out, you know, what the company culture is like, various job descriptions. You know, almost every job is posted on LinkedIn. So this is a great place to come and see what the culture is. If you have a good, strong connection, it will show you who you are connected with that currently works at each employer. Again, so you can ask questions of those people. And then there are all kinds of other tools on LinkedIn. You can sign up for job alerts, stay in the know when jobs are initially posted. You can follow companies, you can follow influencers, follow industries. There are salary tools. It's the largest publisher platform online today, so you can write articles. There's a ton you can do to take advantage of to really start to position yourself as a unique person and manage your professional identity on LinkedIn. So let's actually take a look at this. I'm going to in the world of PowerPoint here. And I will show you my professional identity. So again, I am not in the medical field. I'm in technology, obviously. But you can start to see I've got a tagline here. I've got my picture. Again, this was just a selfie, but you can see a neutral background. It's just my face. I'm looking professional. And then you can start to see various things. What I do on LinkedIn, my experience. Again, it's not super long. Resumes, recruiters, people, they're just going to spend 30 seconds to a minute looking at it. So you don't want, you know, an essay here. A couple bullet points, a quick paragraph, either is fine, but just put a little bit about what you do. If you have projects or digital components you want to link in here, you certainly can. You can upload a CV. Just make sure you take all your contact information off of it for, you know, privacy reasons. And you can, you know, I have correctly tied myself to the right company. You can see because the logo here is being articulated. Got my education, awards that I won during those, any certificates that I have earned. In my case, they're LinkedIn Learning certificates, which we will get into in a minute. But if you have done certificates, presented it at conferences, those types of things, we can add them in here. And any awards you won or have any licenses, you definitely want to add those. And then you can start to get into skills. You can take quizzes for the system to be able to actually assess your skill. So there's a ton on here, and you can get recommendations and give recommendations to people. So that's what my profile looks like. Now, in your case, your institution has invested in an additional tool for you guys. Now, a LinkedIn profile is free. It will be free for life. You'll always have access to it. But your case, UT Health at Tyler has actually invested in an additional tool that you can essentially add to your LinkedIn profile, or you can access it without even having a LinkedIn profile. And this is called LinkedIn Learning. LinkedIn Learning is a digital library of about 17,000 courses, online courses that you can take. Now, you can take them to, just figure out how to do your job more effectively. You can build soft skills, but probably the most important thing from your perspective is to be able to earn badges and micro credentials. So, we've talked a little bit about hard skills and soft skills. Now, by the nature of higher education, you're going to get a lot of those hard skills, right? How to use Excel, how to do a presentation. But some of these soft skills are a little bit harder to articulate. You will learn how to do teamwork, but how do you add that to a CV? Badges and skill-based badges and micro-credentials are the easiest way to be able to articulate that you have that skill and that you've taken an additional step to gain it. So I highly recommend you check out LinkedIn Learning. There are various ways to access it, but you're going to access it with your normal institution credentials. Go to LinkedIn Learning, sign in with my organization, enter your organization credentials, get right in there. The app, iOS or Android, is another great way. Again, download that, sign in with your normal organization credentials, and you can get right in. So once you're in LinkedIn Learning, if you have a LinkedIn profile, it will ask if you would like to connect it. I highly recommend that. But again, you can access it even if you don't have a LinkedIn profile. But this is what this looks like. So first of all, you'll notice that the system is starting to recommend content directly for me. I can go in here and I can pop into any course that I want.
Success.
You'll notice that it is built out in chapters. So maybe I just want to, figure out some, my motivation tactics. I can just take a couple of videos or just this chapter, or I can complete the whole course and earn a badge or a certification. There are social aspects built into this. I can publicly like a course if I want, although nothing is shared unless you choose to share it. There's a Q&A section. I can pop into learning groups and take a course with peers. I can share the course with other folks in my institution or drop it into Teams, whatever it is.
Size fits all.
So check out these courses. You can always search for courses. There's a lot of healthcare specific courses, especially in and around finance and project management in healthcare. But in this case, let's actually talk about some of these business soft skills. So I'm going to look up something like teamwork. You can see there are 500 results. Probably don't want to search through all of those. So you can start to narrow it down. You can take just small videos if you're looking for something really specific, or look at the courses. There's 66 courses on teamwork alone, or learning paths, which are a series of courses. And that earns you an additional certificate if you complete an entire learning path. In this case, I'm going to look at just courses, and it's going to start to sort by best match. So this particular course was fairly recent. It was updated 3 months ago, and being an effective team member. Popular course, hop in.
I saw it.
And you can start to see the introduction video, which is always 1 to 2 minutes long. It's going to tell you what you're going to learn in this course. So if you're unsure if this is a good course for you, check that out. You can also scroll down and look at the learning objectives. So in this particular course, it is part of a continuing education unit, which are also available on LinkedIn, and includes a practice exam for a certification test prep. So you can even take that. But once you complete this course, you earn a badge. And then you can, with one click, sync it to your LinkedIn profile or add it to a CV. And this is a great way to help articulate that you are not only a good healthcare professional, but you have taken additional steps to manage your professional identity by building some of these soft skills, which are so critically important. As a recruiter, I can tell you that yes, we hire people based on their hard skills. That is a minimum requirement. But the ones I really want to hire are also just good people. They're easy to work with. They're fun. I'm going to be stuck in this room with them for hours and hours and hours on end. I want them to be cool, right? I want them to be enjoyable, professional. I want to rely on them. I want to have good conversations and a positive environment. So how do we articulate that we are generally good people? And this is how we do it. So take advantage of this. When you complete the course, the pop-up will happen and it will say, what do you want to do with this certificate? But even if you miss that, you can go back into your learning history, pop in here, and you can see some of the courses that I've recently completed. You can see I can share it. I can download this certificate, which does have your name, the date, time you completed it. There's no expiration date on these, a unique identifier to be able to check. You can actually download and add that, or you can just really quickly add it to your LinkedIn profile. If you complete content within LinkedIn Learning and you leave UT Health at Tyler eventually, right? What happens then? Well, you will lose access to that particular account, but anytime you've earned badges, they will stay on your profile forever. And if you ever get access to LinkedIn Learning again through your institution, or a different medical institution, or you pay for it on your own, your transcripts are stored with you for life, assuming you've connected a personal LinkedIn profile. So you will never lose them. Okay, so we've gone through a lot today. I hope you guys are feeling empowered to manage a professional identity online. I hope that you feel like you have the tools and the know-how to be able to do this. I invite you to do additional research about what it means to manage a professional identity in the world of healthcare. There's a ton of resources out there, including the ones that I referenced on PubMed. But it's critically important for us, for our professional social lives with our peers and our coworkers and our managers, to be able to manage that identity. But also, you guys are dealing with the public in many cases. So the public will also be Googling you. So it's important to manage a professional identity for essentially the folks that you serve, your clients. And make sure that what people find is something that you have had a say in. All right. What do you think, Lance? Anything I missed there?
No, you did a great job. I just want to say what an amazing job you did. What an amazing lunch and learn this is going to be today. Thank you for your time and such great fruitful advice to the students, faculty, and staff here at the Health Science Center. And you mentioned that professional identity is a very important piece to career success. And I hope all who listen really paid attention and really took tips and the strategies that you gave. And I hope they apply those to their career journey. So thank you.
Thank you. And bye, everybody. I hope you enjoyed your lunch.